gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield, as well as streaming video online on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. We are also on TikTok and Instagram as well. Go follow us at the Early Bird Special, the Early Bird Special Official. I believe YouTube, it's EBS Bakersfield. Go like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that type of good stuff. But today, we got another fantastic 5'9" fighter in the building, 3-0 in his professional career so far. Yes, I mean, you started, what, 2-3 years ago?
2022.
2022, so yeah, 3 years ago. No, but Jesus, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Hello. Now, we talked a little bit about this off the air. Mm-hmm. You started in wrestling, but let's go back into the background. How did all of this start? I'd like to talk to you guys about how you got started in professional fighting in general. So what gave you that spark that you just said, you know what, I'm going to try this out for myself?
Well, everybody has their origin story that changes. Mine changes every 3 weeks because I remember stuff. But like I got bullied a lot as a kid. Mm-hmm. It wasn't fun, but it wasn't like physical bullying. It was very like mental bullying. Mm-hmm. It was just I was afraid of getting beat up, and so I would like push everybody away, or I would be really obnoxious because in my head, if I was really annoying, people would leave me alone. Mm-hmm. But I also made me have no friends. So once I started growing up and I was like, I need to get into sports, I need to make friends, I need to be more sociable because I didn't have any of those skills yet. Mm-hmm. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast and he's talking about MMA, and I start checking it out, and one of my buddies is like, oh, you got to look at this guy Fedor, you got to look at this fight, Mirko Cro Cop versus Fedor. I was like, this is the greatest fighters of all time. And at the time I was still fully believing that Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris were the best fighters of all time.
Yeah, naturally. You don't even know about Chuck Liddell or Tito yet.
Not yet.
So when did that kind of get you? Because you said that you started in wrestling in high school, right? Mm-hmm. You went to Wasco. Mm-hmm. Was that kind of the moment where you kind of said, you know what, I really want to just try wrestling since that's the first one that was kind of available to you in high school?
So it was free. There was no MMA in Wasco. There was a boxing class that I wasn't made aware of until I was too old to do it through the police department.
Too old to do it? That's interesting.
It's like a youth program.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. It's like usually you don't hear about someone aging out of those programs. They usually have it for everybody. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good, brother. Where was I?
The high school.
Yeah.
Wrestling in high school.
So technically my first martial art was Taekwondo.
Okay.
And then after 3 months of that, it got really expensive. And I heard Joe Rogan talk about MMA, and he goes, wrestling is the best base for mixed martial arts. It's the clip that goes viral every 2 weeks because it's just wrestlers love to repost it. And I took him at his word, and I went to go talk to my wrestling coach. He's like, "You're here to wrestle?" I said, "Yes, sir. Coach Juan, I love you, brother. One of the greatest coaches probably in the Kern County area, and he doesn't get enough recognition for that. I love Coach Juan." But yeah, I started wrestling for him, and I just fell in love with the sport. I was like, I'm going to wrestle for high school and then jump into MMA right afterwards.
Okay. And obviously you extended the wrestling to college as well, is what you told me, right, at BC?
Yeah, it ended up becoming a sport that I love more than fighting, in fact. But turns out I'm a little better at fighting.
Well, when you figure that out, the punches kind of land better than grapples. It kind of goes that way,
yeah.
Right? So when did you kind of find 5'9", or actually, no, I'm sorry, this is your first 5'9" fight.
Yes.
So when did you find the independent places that you actually got to jump into, and when did you actually start training for this?
I started training in 2022 at a small gym. At the time, it was called One Nation, under a coach called Gil Medina. Mm. I think he's at Dethrone now. And I was training with him for a little bit. I trained with him for my first 2 fights. I fought at MMA Fight Pass, which I don't think they do events anymore. Mm. And that was in Bakersfield. And then I fought for Valley Fight Series in Hanford. But that was a really good show. I enjoyed that show. And after that, the gym kind of fell apart, and we moved on to a new coach took over, a new team took over. They had a brand new name. And I ended up I trained there for a little bit. I had a grappling match at Bakersfield Combat in September last year for them. And then I was just like, there's too much, not too much drama, just too much, just like change. Like there was no consistency in the coaches. and I don't want to bash that team. They were a good team. I'm not gonna say they were a bad team, and I'm on good terms with all those guys. But like I trained at the shoot a couple times for the open mats, and I felt like a really good fit. The coach was a former wrestler for CSUB. He has all these accolades in himself, and then all of his kids or all of his athletes, they're super successful, and it's like, well, I'm a wrestler. He gets me. We get each other. It's no hard feelings, but I just felt like it's a better fit for my career and for what I wanted to do. And so I fought, and my first fight was kind of a disaster.
Why was that?
I went in on like 2 months notice or 2 months of training.
Oh wow!
So I was like at that point I was just basically a self-trained boxer who had some taekwondo skills, and then I wrestled, and I couldn't take this dude down because he was also a wrestler. So it ended up just being 3 rounds of us slugging at each other with horrific striking technique.
I mean, well, at least you got all the way through the 3 rounds and won that fight.
Yeah.
Though, at the end of it all, right?
I did. It was a split decision. Their coach still swears he won that, and I was like, okay, I've rewatched it a few times.
The judges' scorecard is the only one that actually matters. But since then, you've won 2 more fights. You're getting your first lick at 559. What do you expect to see?
I'm excited. I went to go watch one of my teammates fight at 559 116 a few weeks ago, and it's a great show. It looks really cool, and I'm very excited. It's not my first time in enemy territory either. I've been up and down the state with wrestling, and then I fought for Valley Fight Series in Hanford.
Oh, so right on.
I'm pretty used to not being not being the favorite. Yeah.
Well, I mean, are there really a whole ton of favoritism, or I wouldn't say favoritism, but are there really that much favorites when it comes to fighting? I mean, I feel like everybody kind of comes in on even ground. You guys have plenty of information on each other and how you guys fight. And it seems to me, at least from looking at your record, you have improved dramatically at every single fight that you've done. Your first one, if you said, was, well, in your opinion, was awful, or at least was one of those situations where you wish it could have gone differently. Your next fight, you ended up beating the guy via submission in 2 rounds, early 2 rounds. And the fight after that, you knock out the guy in 1 round. So what have you kind of done in the 3 years training to kind of propel your game that much?
I invested in my strength conditioning a lot. That was something I really got into about 2023 is like, I need to be stronger, especially, and that was for the college wrestling season at BC. I was just like, I'm not strong enough for my weight class. I'm not big enough for my weight class. I'm built skinny fat, right? Like Nate Diaz. Like I don't have the physique to be.
Were you in the 155 area with wrestling as well?
I wrestled 157, 165. I would jump back and forth from there. And, yeah, I started conditioning myself more, and I hated lifting. I hated lifting. It was to me, it was the most boring thing in the world to be in there moving weights when I could just be wrestling. But it was a necessary sacrifice. So I started to do this thing. I have a friend who was in cross country in high school, and me and him we were like the athletic rivals in the friend group. And I told him, let's see who can put on more muscle this year. And so we had this whole year-long thing on our Instagram. If you find my Instagram, it's a highlight with everything. It's just every week we take physique pictures.
That's
and
awesome.
We were talking shit. We were making, oh, my bad, I don't know if I can cuss. We were talking smack to each other and then making edits of each other, and it was hilarious, but it was fun. I put on a bunch of muscle, and we had our friends judge us like it was a bodybuilding show, and I ended up losing, but it's okay. He was always a skinnier guy.
He's easily he gets the cut a little bit better than you do.
And he had like 11 months head start.
Oh, well, that's not fair.
That's really not a competition. But we've got 559 fights, 117 coming up next Saturday at the Visalia Convention Center. Tickets are on sale. Just go to 559fights.com, and they always have a huge fight card. It's going to be a full day with plenty of fights. But before we get into the other one, I had a question. You got Manuel Ramirez Lewis that you're fighting this next weekend. Do you know any background or what type of fighter you're getting into?
559 does a really good job of documenting their fights and having them up on YouTube real quick. So I got to watch his last 2 fights, and he's got a really good guard. He's very fast. He finished both his last opponents with an armbar, but I will say he doesn't look super comfortable on the feet. Now, those fights were almost a year ago now, so I'm going to assume that he's been working hard, he's been training, he's been improving his striking. But I do think I have an advantage in the striking, and I don't think he can take me down, or at least I'm confident that he won't be able to take me down with my college wrestling experience.
So What do you you lean on the wrestling more than any other style for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Wrestling is it's king. It's the best sport in the world, and it's the hardest sport in the world.
That's for damn sure.
It's gonna take you it's gonna jumpstart your career if you come from wrestling to MMA.
So I've asked this of a couple guys who also had backgrounds in wrestling, but do you continue the training style like you did when you were a wrestler? So like the whole old school trash bag over the sweats and all that type of stuff to make weight?
Not anymore. That I've fighting now at a higher weight class than I was wrestling at, so I don't have to do that. I don't have to make weight every week anymore, so I can take more time to make weight. But like my high school coach said, it was like, do your weight cut after practice, because if you're wearing the trash bags during practice, the sweats, the layers during practice, you're just gonna have a bad practice instead of having a good practice and then just toughing it out and having a horrible weight cut afterwards.
Right. I've noticed this with wrestlers specifically, but there's like a tradition when it comes to your guys' training. And it just, if you don't follow that tradition, a lot of you, I don't know if it's superstition, but it seems to me that a lot of wrestlers just don't feel like they're going to have the same kind of success if they don't go the route of, what they did when they were younger and go the same ways that they used to. So that's why I always like to ask. What, besides obviously taking this up top mostly against Lewis, do you have any other idea of what you have to do maybe to get him on the ground? I know obviously being a wrestler, most of your guys' striking is, with you over the top of him and trying to control him throughout the entire fight. So is that kind of your ideal as well if you can't beat him standing up?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to try and take him down. I'm a wrestler. I'm always going to go back to that's my A game. But, just being smart about it, staying out of the guard, working my footwork and making sure not to get caught with anything dumb.
Fantastic. Any other major highlights that you want to talk about before we let you go? Going into 559, 117. I mean, where actually is this one? Is it in Visalia again?
Yeah, Visalia Convention Center.
So you're going up against a hometown boy then.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Well, before we go, what did you think about did you watch the Canelo-Crawford fight?
I did. Canelo really surprised me. I did not expect somebody to be able to go up 3 weight classes and maintain that style of fight, the pressure, the pace, the hand speed, like the combinations. It's
crazy.
You
think he was at a disadvantage throughout this? Because I keep seeing that across the internet that people think that he was just too much at a disadvantage against Crawford.
Against Crawford or Canelo?
Yeah. No, against Crawford. So Canelo was in a disadvantage against Crawford.
Canelo has a lot of years on him. He started professionally boxing at 14 years old, and he's had over 500 rounds of boxing. And that's not even counting all the hard sparring. And boxers spar crazy hard. I went to a boxing class, and those guys are insane. It's just, it was going to catch up with him eventually, and he's already been slowing down since a couple of years ago, since 2023. So I told everybody, I was like, hey, Crawford's a better boxer. If he can maintain that pace and not get caught with anything in the later rounds, he's going to win.
I just feel like there's a lot of salt from Canelo fans right now that Crawford ended up beating him. Especially
I'm one of them. Don't worry.
No, I get it. But I'm just like, I don't know. Going into that fight, I just kind of had a feeling. I was like, nah, Crawford's going to pull this off. Everything was pointing that way.
I had Crawford winning it, but I have so much respect for Canelo.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, the way he reacted, and there was a few rounds that I thought he was going to catch him, because there was a couple where Crawford was almost dancing a little bit too much and got popped a few times. But I thought overall it was a great fight, and I got so much respect for Canelo, the way he held himself up, the way he, wanted to bump gloves. And I mean, I just have so much respect for both of them. Even when Crawford came out and gave him his belts back, I was just really just excited about that fight just as much as I'm excited about the 559 fights next Saturday. Go see our boy, and we'll pump up the fights until then. But we appreciate your time coming out this morning.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, brother.
Great experience.
We'll have you on again soon after your big win it's in 2 weeks, right? It's on the 27th.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Thanks, brother. We got to take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield.